of triple point is a nicety of physics. There is one point where you can actually be freezing, steaming, and all wet, all at the same time. My talented cast will have Mary McCoy reading Rachel, Stephen Durkee reading James, Emily Hart reading Jillian, Melody Krehbiel reading the role of Karen, and introducing Hannah Taylor as lovely Helen.
You want to introduce God?
No, I'm not going to introduce God. And Ralph Steadman as God and the narrator, because we couldn't resolve the paradox of who's more powerful, God or the narrator, so it's Ralph.
Triple point by R. Scott Gillespie. Triple point, the single combination of pressure and temperature about liquid, water, ice, and vapor, so they can coexist. The characters. James Newton, a poet, illustrator, and writer, working on a new masterpiece. Jim has a penchant for speaking in iambic pentameter. And he also believes that contractions are beneath him as an artist. God, a voice in James' head that the audience also hears. Lucky for you. Off stage with a lot of reverb. Rachel, mysterious woman of many talents. Jillian Terra, musician, James's best friend for years. Karen Feiffer, an artist, Jillian's partner, Helen's roommate. Helen Barker, author, Jillian and Karen's roommate. The Jazz Cafe is the scene, a local hangout for the local self-styled bohemian artists set. There are a couple of round tables, an oversized clock is visible, a big paper calendar hangs on the wall, only the month might be visible. Various times and days, as time advances, the lights raised and lowered to stimulate or simulate the passage of the sun. The clock spins, the pages of the calendar fall off. A cliché movie factor. The scene. The Jazz Cafe. Late July, midday. Jim is seated at the table with books and notebooks, busily scribbling. Jill walks in with Karen and Helen. Jill sneaks behind Jim, taps him on the opposite shoulder. Jim looks where Jill isn't, then goes back to writing.
Don't you actually have an office somewhere that you pay for?
It is still July. What are you doing here? I thought I had a reprieve until next month.
I need an excuse to come down here? Like you own the place?
Only morally. If I banked all the money I spent on coffee here, I would own the place. I have to have a line of credit for the pastry alone. Reinforcements?
Jim, this is Karen and Helen, my new roommates.
Ah, menage a threesome.
James, are you sure that you're a writer? What with that diction impairment and all? As it so happens, Karen and I are dating, and Helen is between girlfriends at this point.
Please, God, tell me that you are not musicians, too.
No, I'm a painter.
Houses?
No, canvases. Oils mostly, some acrylics. Jillian told me you weren't a musician either.
Jill?
Those noises that you make on the guitar certainly do not qualify as music.
But I sing.
That's what you call it.
And you call it?
Oh, I don't know. Gargling, yodeling, hog calling.
I'm an illustrator. I do my own drawings. Pen and ink workings, mostly.
Oh, yeah. He does drawings. Come up and see my etchings, honey.
Retchings, more like.
And what do you do?
I'm an author.
Say, you're pretty cute. Have you considered switching teams?
Nope.
He's a poet. He has a crazy thing about female writers.
A mad, crazy thing. You did know I'm a writer, right?
Rachel enters.
He likes to hit on lesbians because he's afraid somebody's actually going to take him up on it.
Children.
Rachel moves to Jill, gives her a big hug, smiles, waves, then moves for coffee. Jim watches with rapt attention.
Jimmy has a crush.
Fuck off, Jillian.
Ooh, sensitive.
She looks kind of familiar.
Well, she's one of the local crowd. I see her everywhere. Pretty quiet, though.
I'm an art slut. I only date talent. I cannot afford to get hooked up with another beautiful woman that I have no creative affinity with. I'm a creature of the mind.
You are a creature of the worst kind.
Are you sure you two aren't siblings?
Don't get me started. I have to look out for the dumb bastard. He'll never get married.
Nope, not again. Not while I've got the checklist. Besides, I am in love with my mass nemesis.
You have a mass nemesis? Cool.
Don't get him started.
Mass nemesis?
Well...
It's this woman he first saw at Mardi Gras a few years back, wearing an exotic mask. He fell in love with her eyes.
I fell in love when I looked into her eyes. It's actually pretty common in some cultures. The women wear veils.
What's the checklist? Sounds ominous.
It is a massive list of every feature I require demographically from a woman before considering matrimony, and another massive list of every possible disqualifying defect. Between them, marriage is a statistical impossibility.
He's a poet. He has women all over him all the time.
I am a single writer who is straight. The only other guy in town that with that demo is on vacation, so that makes me a hot commodity. Besides, I'm an art slut. I will only marry an artist.
I hear ya.
Of course, I would marry Arstein in a split second.
Arstein the artist? She's kind of reclusive, isn't she?
She's more than just an artist. I've heard her speak in town a few times. She breezes in all perfume and sunglasses. Tells more in a few words about painting than all of the art instructors I've ever had. I know from her art, her mind speaks to me.
You really are an art slut, aren't you?
Thank God for the checklist.
Unfortunately, it's doubtful he'll ever reproduce. To the checklist.
The checklist!
Everyone exits. The light cycle of the calendar spits out a July page. It now says August. Time is night. Jim is sitting at a table working. Noise of the jazz cafe. Quiet. Lights dim. Spotlight on Jim. A mellow, mellifluous voice is heard. Hey, man. How's it going? Sorry to intrude, mate. Can I speak to you for a moment?
This is my inside voice, is it not?
Yeah, one of them anyway, man. I'm not an auditory hallucination in any way.
You mean they can hear you?
No. Just that I'm more like a refined intuition than a hallucination.
I see. So when they lock me up for hearing voices, I cop the refined intuition, please?
Something like that.
Who are you, anyway?
Well, that's not an easy question. The most accurate answer would be that I'm the sum of those parts in your unconscious that actually like you.
You mean parts of my mind do not like me? You know, you kind of sound
One
like...
of those mellow late-night FM jazz DJs from the 70s?
Yeah, how did you know?
I get that a lot. And please don't.
You know, I've always wanted to ask, please do not what?
Don't ask.
Say, you are good.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Listen, we don't have much time. It draws attention when I freeze the jazz cafe this way. I wanted to tell you, you're going to fall in love. When you meet her, propose to her, and get married, you got to do it right then at the proposal. Propose to her, marry her.
Fuck off. That is crazy. Who do you think you are? God or...
Pretty much. Pretty much. At least as far up the food chain as you could talk about your baked brain being fired by my fiery countenance.
You have a fiery countenance?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. It does not matter. I'm not going to get married. Besides, you would not like me in love. The one time it happened before, I became ardent.
Yeah. She will come unexpectedly from 3 directions at once. Look for the triple point. That which boils, freezes, and steams.
Fuck off. That is almost 0 degrees in a partial
Remember. God's voice echoes and fades. Full lights, Jim sits at the table. Normal jazz cafe noise resumes. Clock spins, day returns.
Actually, that was kind of harsh.
Jill enters.
You look weird.
I had a refined intuition. I heard the voice of God telling me that I was going to fall in love.
Sounds like an auditory hallucination.
Well, it's disturbingly coherent.
Don't worry, there's always the checklist.
Incompetent checklist.
Rachel enters full fast. Waves goes for coffee. Jim sinks down in his seat with a goofy grin.
Oh, come on! Tell her or I am going to kill you myself. What's the worst that could happen?
I am not going to approach a woman that I am attracted to. She would suck me in like a black hole. It's safer to watch from a distance. I am not going to have another relationship with someone that I have no creative affinity with.
What if she is creative? How can you tell without talking? James! What if she were a poet?
Then you might as well kill me now. I mean it. That would kill me. Besides, there's no such thing as a good-looking female poet. Mind you, I would have so done Dorothy Parker back in the day.
James! Right now! She's coming!
Jill grabs Jim's arm and pulls him up. Rachel passes the coffee. Jim approaches wobbly.
Hi, Rachel. Nice to see you.
Rachel gives him a friendly hug, walks over to the door and exits.
That's it? That's your approach?
The floor vibrates when I talk to her. It's like being on nitrous oxide. Hi, wah, 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 wah. Nice to see you, wah, 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 wah. Most annoying.
Karen enters, walks up behind Jim, touches him on the shoulder, he jumps.
You know, some guys say that women are ambush predators, but they think they have it all wrong.
Jill and Karen await his statement without enthusiasm.
I think that they hunt in packs, like wolves.
You get laid yet?
Are you kidding? It's been like 6 months. He's got a crush on Rachel over there.
Karen looks at Rachel and does a double take, then studies her more closely. Jim follows her gaze. He looks incredulous, then gets up wide-eyed, walks over slowly to her, and stands right in front of her.
Rachel? Rachel, would you mind doing...
Up in the air, Junior Birdman. Up in the air, Junior Birdman. Jim exits, runs out of the cafe. Jill and Karen rise and walk over to Rachel.
What was all that about?
I don't know. He had me do.
Up in the air,
Yes.
Junior Birdman.
Then ran out of the room screaming something about a nemesis.
Karen approaches Rachel curiously, then takes both of Rachel's hands and looks at them.
Say, I was wondering, are you Stein, the painter? I see you have painter's hands.
As you do. Yes, I am Stein. You can call me Rachel.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Jill's partner, Karen.
You're Stein? Oh, this is gonna be rich!
Jim comes running back into the jazz cafe carrying a red rose. He grabs Rachel's hand, leads her to another part of the cafe. They confer out of the earshot.
What do you think he's saying to her?
Something about Mardi Gras, ancient cultures, and falling in love after looking into someone's eyes.
I thought you said he had game.
No, I said he always has women all over him. He doesn't have the slightest idea of how to game a woman who isn't chasing him.
We're gonna have coffee.
You're having coffee now.
You do not understand. Rachel is my mass nemesis. They are the same person. I cannot believe it. I'm Chloe.
I thought you were an art slut. You wouldn't date without creative rapport. What about that?
Oh my god. I forgot about that. What am I gonna do? I'm so falling in love with this woman.
It could be like Iris all over again. Think about it. The endless carping while you are writing. She destroyed drawings.
Oh my god. What will I do? I've never even given flowers to a woman before.
You never gave flowers to Iris?
She used to buy them and charge them to me so that I could not be trusted to pick out flowers.
And you want to get into another relationship based on physical attraction alone?
Jill, I cannot help it. I am falling. I am in free fall. I am a whirlwind down.
You even get her last name?
No, I was gonna get that over coffee leading up to her phone number.
I know her last name, James. It's Stein, James. Rachel Stein.
Stein? You mean Stein as in...
Yes, James, Frankenstein's monster. No, asshole. Stein, as in R. Stein, the painter.
James exits the cafe!
So what happens next?
That's a good question. He is a poet, after all. He might become ardent. I don't remember. Does he still have a sword?
A sword? Why would he want a sword? He wouldn't do anything violent, would he?
Well, not violent, more like a warrior's wedding. Hold hands, jump the sword, jump, rogue, and princess leap. You know, that sort of thing.
Good God, he's crazy.
Well, not exactly. Well, maybe functionally, pretty much, but at least he's lucid, sort of.
He's going to propose to a woman he's barely spoken to. You call that lucid?
I think he intends to proceed directly to the wedding, and I guess not.
Do we need to be worried here?
I don't know. I've never seen him like this. He usually thinks things out for years before he acts.
And when he acts?
Well, he's a poet. There is a danger of him becoming ardent.
And how long has he been thinking about this?
Years.
Karen and Jill look at each other. Then, pause and rush over to Rachel.
Rachel, honey, you might want to get out of here for a while.
Huh? Confused male issue.
Karen and Jill grab Rachel's arms, then start moving her towards the exit. Jim bursts through the door carrying a vase full of flowers. Karen and Jill drop Rachel's arms and grab for Jim. He dodges them, grabs Rachel's arm, and moves her over to the other side of the jazz cafe.
Well, this isn't as bad as I thought. He doesn't have a sword.
What's this? Looks like a book of poems.
Karen looks down where Rachel was sitting, picks up a notebook, looks at it, then puts it down. Jim and Rachel start back over. Karen and Jill look at each other, double take, then dive for the notebook. They fumble for it before Jill turns away, stuffs it down her pants, just as Jim and Rachel walk up.
What?
Jim looks curious.
What is up?
Nothing.
What happened to my poetry notebook? I was just working on a poem.
Jill reaches behind herself, pulls out the notebook from her pants, and hands it to Rachel. Jim looks at the notebook, then looks at Rachel. He tenses. Karen and Jill, they tense. They grab for Jim. He dodges past them and runs toward the exit. Jim exits.
Is he okay? He gave me more flowers, said something about running the whole checklist, and that he needs a broom before going Viva Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Oh, I get that one. I'm starting to learn James speak.
Oh, shit. The situation's gone thermonuclear. Rachel, honey, if you know what's good for you, you will exit stage right.
Rachel begins to gather her things. Jim rushes back in with the broom. Jill grabs the broom. She and Jim struggle with it before Jim lets go and Jill falls back. Jim steps toward Rachel. Jill swings at him with the broom. Jim jumps over it. Karen gets down on hands and knees behind Jim as Jim stands up. Jill drops the broom, pushes Jim backwards. Jim falls over Karen, rolls over, grabs the broom, stands up, runs to Rachel.
What's with the broom?
Pagan wedding tradition.
She wouldn't actually marry him, would she?
Karen prepares to shoulder tackle Jim.
You don't understand. He's very persuasive when he's ardent.
Jill oops. Karen misses Jim and tackles her.
Persuasive? He's not even coherent.
Jim is seen placing the broom on the ground in front of Rachel. He makes broad, sweeping gestures with his hands, as if speaking eloquently. Jill and Karen poised to tackle him at the same time. Helen enters the jazz cafe. Jill approaches and high-fives her like it's a wrestling match. Jim grabs Rachel's hand and moves toward the broom. Helen lunges and grabs Jim around the knees. Jill and Karen grab a hand and break Jim's grip on Rachel's hand. Karen grabs Jim by the arm. Karen kicks the broom like it was shot out of a gun. Jill turns to Rachel aside.
Run if you want to live!
A combination of flustered, amused, and bewildered, Rachel gathers her things and exits. Jill grabs Jim's other arm, and the four of them wrestle comically. Finally, Jim breaks free and sits down in despair.
Where is my broom? I could go get my sword.
Oh, no.
On the word sword, Jill, Karen, and Helen grab Jim again.
Oh, no, you don't. Remember what happened when you were playing Cyrano de Bergerac?
It was an accident. I thought the guy knew how to fence.
And what happened next?
I married Iris.
That's right. And how did that work out for you? You are problematic right now.
That is why I have to marry Rachel. She is the triple point. Boiling, freezing, steaming, all three directions at once. I will never meet another woman like her in this lifetime. Ah, she's gone. She hates me. I'm single for life. I will never return to the jazz cafe.
Jim struggles free and stands.
Is he serious?
Yes, that is why he is problematic. All right, mister. Be honest for once. When was the last time you got laid?
Ooh, Jim looks embarrassed. Looks to both sides, then whispers in Jill's ear.
Ooh.
Jill pushes Jim's chest, and he falls into the chair.
Okay, enough. That's it. We are going to put you out of your misery. What?
What?
You heard me. This is a mercy killing.
You cannot do that. It's against the rules. You are lesbians.
Jim jumps to his feet.
Every once in a while, we want to do something really filthy.
Karen moves between Jim and the exit.
So we sleep with a man.
Helen cuts off Jim's escape in another direction. Wolves! Casually stretching his shrugs and walks away, then faints one way, darts for the exit, they catch him before he gets 2 steps, they lead him backwards toward the exit. Karen and Helen each hold an arm. Jill drags him by his tie.
This is not optional. You are in need of medical attention.
All my laurels you have riven away, and my roses. One thing without stain, unspotted from the world in spite of doom my own.
Jim raises his hand.
And that is my white plume.
Cyrano de love with death?
Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. Her lips suck forth my soul. See where it flies.
Dr. Faustus, euthanasia is definitely in order.
I'll burn my books.
Jim wedges himself in the doorway of the exit to the jazz cafe. As they peel his fingers back, he loses his grip, and as he is pulled out over the threshold, he raises his hand in a final dramatic gesture.
Ah, Mephistopheles!
Jim disappears through the doorway. Cue Twilight Zone theme. The lights raise low repeatedly. The hands of the clock spin rapidly. The pages of the calendar spew forth like cards shot from the fingers. Lights dim, the play's done.